Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to another Coast to Success RollerCoasters Tycoon 3 Platinum tutorial. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you the basics of career mode. So this is where you'd have the challenge of the game. The challenge of, can I actually achieve what they want me to? Can I actually succeed? So, here we go. I'm going to start a brand new career here. Call it Coast to Success Tutorials. So, this will be a specific career mode for me showing you how to succeed in basic tutorials. Later on, I'll just do a plain playthrough sometime of a completely separate series. I'm going to call that a different world, or a different, I'm playing too much Minecraft. A different career, and just basic playthrough of me beating the entire game if you want to see that too. But this is tutorials, so this is going to show you how to beat it. So what I hit there was create a new career. And then you can edit the name of whatever it's called, or you can load it. But you can also just double-click on it. That works too. Cancel, obviously, delete the career. Don't know why you would want to do that, but maybe if you got frustrated with it and wanted to start over. That'd be a good way to do so. But I don't know why you would do that, because you can start over in each park. So I don't know why you would do that. Anyway, so this is the basics of what career mode looks like. The order of scenarios from easiest all the way down to hardest appear on the left side of the screen, and then you have previews of each park and each scenario. So those will be here, kind of give you an idea what you're going for. As it says, like, for example, it'll have a slight description of each two. So, like, first scenario is Vanilla Hills. Vanilla Hills are the starting point on your meteoric? I don't know how to pronounce that word. Sorry. Or not rise to RollerCoasters Tycoon stats. Can you turn this spot into the peeps talk of the town? Your rating as apprentice entrepreneur tycoon depends on it. So yeah, it'll have a little description. Or Gold Rush, that's the next one. So yeah, as you achieve apprentice in certain scenarios, the next ones will become unlocked. See, like this one, levels to complete, to unlock. 1. So if I just beat apprentice on any of these levels, it'll unlock that one. If I beat 2 levels, it'll unlock this one, and so forth. Until you get to the last ones. Become an entrepreneur on all the levels. So I'd have to beat entrepreneur level achieve objectives to unlock this one. Then this one, become a tycoon on all the previous ones. So I'd have to get my game on and really beat all the objectives at max potential to get this one unlocked. So yeah, that's what that one is. Just gonna show you the basic way career mode goes. So here we go. Start new game. Obviously, self-explanatory. It explains itself. So you just click on that, it'll load the park, and you'll start a new game. You could save it, put in there, and then you can load a saved game once you've saved it here. And of course, you can just delete your saved game, so if something goes completely wrong and you don't want to load that saved game for some reason, you can just delete it and start over the park, which is why I was not sure why you would want to delete your whole career, because you can just start over the park. So anyway, Vanilla Hills. It's a good place to start. Easy, simple scenario. Not too difficult. It has to load the resources, then it has to pre-activate every object in the parks, and then it has to activate every object, then it has to post-activate it. I don't know why it does that many loadings, but it does. And then it has to initialize the park, and then it should load entirely. See, post-activate, and now it'll initialize the park, and then bam, we'll see our park. Takes some time, so be patient. Ah, there we are. Okay, so other controls I forgot to mention. Pause. Very useful. If something's going on in your park and you're just like, I don't want to deal with this right now, I need to focus on one other thing, you can hit pause. It'll pause the entire world, freeze everything, all of time, and you can focus on whatever it is you need to. Play. That's resume. Play. Normal speed mode. Everything goes normal, clockwork, normal, typical time of your park. Or if you're trying to wait for something and it's just taking forever, you can go into fast forward mode and everything will start to speed up. You'll notice the guests walk faster, the rides move faster, things happen faster. Hey, researchers unlocked a new type of path. sandy pads. I don't know why I would build sandy pads here. It's not near a beach, so it doesn't quite fit. But anyway. Or you could do super fast forward. This is really kind of fun. It's just a funny mode to play with. As you can see, everything goes super crazy fast. Time just flies. Wow, it's already 2 p.m. And we started this at like 12 p.m. See? Anyway, the days don't match up with the time. For those of you who are OCD, that might be an issue, but just ignore it. It's fine. The clock time doesn't really matter except telling me when it's night and day, and so forth and so on. Anyway, now, this little arrow allows you to put a tab or a window way up here in the corner so that you can get it later easily without having to go through all the things to click to find it again. Really handy when you don't want to see the window when you're moving around your entire park and you want it to be accessible, and so you can just get it, come back to it later. Alright. Oh, it's getting cloudy. Huh. Temperature went up. Anyway, I don't think any of my custom people are here, so I'm going to leave that off for the tutorial because it might get in the way. So anyway, this is where your cash is. $10,000 and $10,072.74. Now, I'm going to talk about finances a little bit here. This is your key window here. Check on this often. Bye. Sorry, my parents are leaving for a meeting. Check on this window often. If you want to achieve Tycoon level status, this will be your best friend and your worst enemy. Loan. Okay. 3.9% interest per year. So every time it goes from March to October, because that's the theme park year, theme parks aren't usually open from October or from December. Oh, what is it after October? November through February. They're not usually open then because, you know, winter, snow. So that's what the game means by a year. From March to October, and then the next year will start. So 3.9% interest per year. You can multiply 3.9% times 5,000. You'll get how much you have to pay to the bank to keep that loan per year. I really don't like loans because some of these objectives have really high interest rates. It's ridiculous, like 17%, and you're like a whole bunch of your money goes wasted to paying back that loan, when if you just do this, bam, no loan, you have raw cash to work with, and you won't be wasting a whole lot of money paying back interest. Wise idea there. Wise advice. Hiding empty categories kind of simplifies stuff so you can see what you're mostly focusing on until you build other things like pools. I don't have any pool tickets because there's no pools in this park, so I'll hide that for now. You'll notice loan interest. It's calculating the loan interest. It seems to vary. My guess is that when they built the scenario, they started with a smaller loan, increased it, and decreased it to what it is now. Seems like the last month it was at $16.24 as 3.9% interest of whatever 5,000 is. But I always try to get rid of my loan as fast as possible. If you start an objective with a loan and you have no raw cash to work with, I would suggest building a few thrill rides and roller coasters, information stalls, and restrooms first. Those are the key things. Roller coasters and thrill rides bring the people to your park, raise the park entrance fee, depending on if you're allowed to do that. Some scenarios you can only raise the ride fees. Some you can raise both, some you can only raise the park entrance fees, or whatever you choose to do. So yeah, I usually build roller coasters, thrill rides, get more people to the park if you're starting from scratch especially. And then I build information so that they can get umbrellas, because if it starts raining and they don't have umbrellas, they will be miserable. I mean, think about it. When was the last time you visited a theme park and it was raining and you didn't have an umbrella? It's not a very pleasant experience, unless you just don't mind the rain like I do. I don't really care. It rained the whole time I was at Tokyo Disneyland last 2 months ago. That was fun. I didn't really care if it was raining. It was enjoyable. Let's see. And then Information stalls also give your guests park maps. Very, very important. Your guests will be hopelessly lost without them. If you have a large park with lots of paths and lots of things all over the place, without the maps, they're going to be like, where's this ride? How do I get here? Where do I go? And you're just going to be like, I wish I could tell you, but I can't. I mean, you can pick up guests and move them straight to where they are, but that would take forever if you have like thousands of guests and you're trying to move them all to wherever. Just don't do that. Build park maps. Stalls, places for them to get park maps. Very important. Restrooms, kind of a given. I mean, I don't know of any amusement park in existence that does not have a bathroom. Honestly, why you would build a park without a bathroom is beyond me. You can actually get them to pay to go to the bathroom. That sometimes happens in Europe. If you just find that a little unethical, or just don't want to go there because you're too nice, you can do that. So I generally put it up to 10 cents if I'm in a crunch needing more money. That's a good thing between I don't want them to pay too much to go to the bathroom and free bathrooms, which isn't making any money. So anyway, so that's that. This is miscellaneous costs. The red means it's being taken out of your income. The black means it's being put into your income. So black is good. You want more black. The more black you have, the more money you're making. The more red you have, the more money you're losing. Pretty easy to explain. Ride construction. So looks like they got $5,000 from deleting a ride, or demolishing it, and then spent $6,000 on building rides. Pretty easy to see what's going on there. Ride running costs. So the rides are not free. They do cost money to run. Like, they cost electricity, they cost water, whatever else it might need to run the ride. So you will always have these. Not much you can do about it unless you just make sure the rides are running as reliably as they can. Landscaping, that's if you want to move the land around. I wouldn't do it too often if I were you. Landscaping is really, 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 really insanely expensive in this game. Unless you just so happen to have gobs of money and don't know what to do with it. In which case, then you can have fun. Ride tickets. So this is how much people are paying you to ride the rides. They did pretty good there. $227 so far, and it's not near the end of the month. They're doing good there. Staff wages. So that's how much you have to pay your employees. Generally, you still need employees. Trying to run a park without it is a mess, a disaster. I would highly suggest it. I'll get into staff another tutorial. This is just the basics of finances and how to run your park for this tutorial. Staff training. So if your staff starts to complain and get all lazy and stuff, you can train them. I'll show you how to do that later. It costs money, but once they are trained, they will stick with you a lot longer than if they're not trained. And you won't have to pay as much for their wages. Very key there. Research. This is your team of, what kind of new things can we develop for this theme park? What kind of new rides can we add to get them? Because, honestly, the more new things you discover, the more fun things you can give your guests to do. I mean, wowzers! Every single theme park that I know of has some sort of research team that is working on new types of rides, new innovations, and technology with the rides. That's basically what this group is doing. Now, in RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 Platinum, there are only a specific number of rides, stalls, food shops, scenery, and all that. But you don't have them all available when you first start out a career. In fact, quite often, most of them are locked or unavailable until you beat an objective at the Tycoon level, and then they might unlock some new types of designs, or designs for the ride, not necessarily the ride themselves, which is why you have the researchers. You pay the researchers, they do their research, and then they come out with new rides. Like right there, they researched new path type, Sandy. So, pretty handy. Other miscellaneous expenses, I don't really know what that involves. Okay, here's a few other key important things to know about the finances window. Entrance fee is free for right now. That's not good. I'm probably going to raise that. Anyway, park value. This is how much your park is worth in money. If you were to completely sell, destroy everything, and and delete it all. That's how much money you would get back for it. Some objectives require you to get a certain amount of park value. Some will say like $20,000, $100,000 park value, which can easily be done by building roller coasters. Roller coasters add the most value to your park because they're the most expensive and most money-making machines. I mean, they're the thrill of the park. Company value, that's how much your entire park plus your business, that's how much money you're making off the park, is worth. I haven't really seen any objectives with company value, so you really shouldn't worry about that. Of course, if it's lower than your park value, then something's going wrong with your business. You might want to check that out. So those are two very important tabs to have handy: objectives and finances. Objectives will always pop up first thing when you open up the park. Now let's get a little tour of what our park looks like. So we've got our entrance gates. This is where people enter and pay to enter. I can't change the entrance fee. It's fixed on this scenario, so too bad. You can change the name of the park. It doesn't have to be Vanilla Hills. Okay, this is the graphs of your park value. You can change which color graph you want to see, like park value. It went up for a little while, took a dive, and then has leveled out a bit. When you build a new ride and guests are all excited about it, that thing's going to spike up there, that park value, and then it's going to kind of level out a little lower, but higher than what it was before. Adults in the park, don't know why you'd need to know that. Teens in the park, kids in the park. You can look at all the graphs at once, but I don't know if you'd be able to understand it, because that's just kind of messy looking. So, yeah. Publicity, that's how popular your park is. If you haven't built any new things in a while, that will decline and you'll lose guests. That looks like what happened here. Park rating, that's how happy the guests are with your park. So here it was really pretty happy. They were really excited. And then all of a sudden, whoa, something bad happened. And something really bad happened. I don't know what it was that happened, but it's kind of going down a little bit. We need to boost this park up so that the guests are talking about it and coming like crazy. Intake, that's, actually not sure what that is. Okay, no need to explain it then. Guests, how many guests are in the park? Went up to about a little bit over 300, and it's kind of declining. So, I'm going to try to get more. Advertising, marketing campaigns. This I wouldn't recommend you do at all until you are either in a pinch and need more money, and the only way you make money is if more guests come, which I'll explain when you have your scenario up and running, or if you've got lots of money and you don't care how much you spend on advertising, then these are really great ways to get loads of guests and loads of money. These things, while costing a lot per month, will get you lots in return. Awards? Sometimes you may get awards, like for the cleanest park. And for good awards, you'll get, sometimes you'll get cash bonuses, and you'll be like, yay, more money, because it's an award. Sometimes you may get fined for awards, like the worst restrooms, which, ironically, you can only get if you have, like, no restrooms. Doesn't necessarily make sense, but, yeah. If you get a fine for that, you'll lose money, and then it's like, I better fix that before I lose more money, so that's that. Okay, so that's the basics of a scenario and what you need to be aware of. Oh wow, listen to all those chattering, enjoying themselves guests. How happy are they? 500? Okay, that's average. Okay, so that's the basics of your scenario. You can see this park has a bit of scenery, flowers, trees, a nice little fountain there. Fascinating fountain, actually. Benches. There's a few trash cans right here. There's shrubbery, statues, decoration, lamps. Lamps are also very important if you want your guests to be able to see. They don't necessarily complain about walking around in the dark. They still manage to find their ways around in the dark. But obviously, if you want to see guests and see how clean your paths are at night, I usually put lamps in. On a park that doesn't have night, I don't, because you don't really need them. And it's just a waste of money. Okay. this is your park fence, so this marks where your land is that you own. So this is where you can build. This park fence outlines your entire park, where you can build within the park. If you want to expand this, it will cost money to buy surrounding land. Or you can buy the construction rights, which will allow you to build on that land, but you can't permanently own it and modify it. Like, if you want to do landscaping, you wouldn't be able to do that because it's just construction rights. It's not owning the land. I don't think this one has any land for sale. Nope, no land for sale. No construction rights, so you're stuck with what you got in this scenario. Okay. Let's see. So that's the basics of that. And finances. Let's look at the objectives some more. So, apprentice. Your goal is to get 400 guests in the park. That is not too difficult. 300 guests right here to get 400 in the park is not too difficult. Park value 20,000. Okay, like I said, some objectives focus on the park value. That is a little bit more tricky. We've only got a park value of 13. We're going to need to build a big ride to boost that up or get more guests in place. If you want to look at the Entrepreneur and Tycoon, you can. You just can't achieve them yet. So, like, for Entrepreneur, you need 500 guests. That's a little trickier. And 60,000 park value. Pretty high. For Tycoon, you need 600 guests and 100,000 park value. Well, that might seem daunting and overwhelming at first. That's why we take it one step at a time. Once you get Apprentice, you get awarded something. Usually it's a cash value bonus, a research boost, which will make your researchers research things faster for less money, or more guests, more publicity, or cash bonus, just all sorts of good stuff out of that. Same if you complete Entrepreneur. Tycoon, you usually unlock a ride design, which is pretty fun. Preset rides you can build, which is handy when you're in a tight spot and you need to build a quick ride and you don't have enough time to build a custom ride. So, that's the basics of your scenario. I'm not sure I want to explain too much else except the basics of everything else. So, I'll just go into some more basics on stuff. If you're finding any of these tutorials to be a little bit overwhelming, I would suggest rewatching them, or how about you could watch certain parts of it until something complicated makes sense. Okay? Alright. So this is your queue line for the ride. This is where guests wait in line to get into the ride. This is the ticket entrance booth. This is where they'll pay to enter the ride. Once they're on the ride, they'll get in the seats, or whatever the ride happens to have, and then they'll start riding it. You can also zoom in and enjoy your guests in detail. Pretty interesting. So that's the basics of the ride. This is what the exit looks like. They'll exit out here. The exit path does not need to be the same as the queue line. If the exit path looks the same as the queue line, most likely things will be a little confusing for you and the guests. I usually like to put benches on exit lines to intense rides, because some people who ride intense rides without knowing that they're intense, or without knowing that they can't handle that intense of a ride, will get sick, and benches sometimes allows them to sit down, calm their stomachs down, and relax. It will help not have as much disgusting stuff around your park. I also put trash cans there because who knows when some person randomly throws something on the ground because they can't find a trash can. That happens. Okay, so now let's look at the basics of a thrill ride. So this is Tumbler, is what it's called. I think the original thrill ride is called Top Spin, but you can rename it whatever you wish. So this is called Tumbler. 20 people on ride. Very handy thing that when that pops up to show you how many people are on it. The green flag means it's open. Yellow flag is test mode. Guests can't ride it in test mode, but you can. You can ride it in test mode and enjoy it yourself. Or if something fails, you can fix it. That doesn't usually happen on a thrill ride, more like on roller coasters. Red closes it, so pretty simple. You can double-click this to enter the coaster cam, which basically allows you to ride the rides. Check it out, we're riding Tumbler! Woohoo! This looks fun, except that it's not starting. Okay. While on the coaster cam, while riding the ride, you can move with the mouse to look around. Hello, guests. Hello, guests. You can look completely upside down. Don't know why you do that, kind of disorienting. As this ride goes upside down anyway. It's pretty fantastic. Whee! You can hear they're screaming. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. As far as you want, riding it like from the distance. It's actually kind of weird. Whoa, I've never done that before. Anyway, I don't know why you do that. Notice this one automatically comes with its own water jets. It's pretty sweet. If you get motion sick just watching these rides, I would highly not recommend riding any of the rides you build, and you just can focus on beating the game. If you're like me and you're a thrill seeker and love riding real rides like this, and love beating the way this is so real, then you could ride it in super fast forward mode if you wanted to. You could hit this on super fast forward mode, hop in the ride, and watch it go 3 times as fast. Woo! Oh my gosh, that's insane. It's a bit disorienting. But yeah, so that's that. That's the coaster cam. It's called the coaster cam because you mostly use it to ride roller coasters, but you can ride all the other rides too. There's certain rides you can't really ride, like haunted houses and such, but that's just because you can't really walk around in the park as a guest. Okay. This is the test results. So this is what the ride's ratings are. A high excitement will add to your park rating, because see ride excitement plus intensity, plus a 9.9. They've got pretty exciting rides. Sorry about that. I had a sneeze fit. Okay. They usually come in 3s. Or as I say, pairs of 3s. But pairs 2, so. See what I did there? This one is actually a low excitement rating. It's not very exciting. Sorry about that. The intensity rating. Imagine intensity as being how body jostling the ride is. As in, if this is a really, really high intensity rating, it will shake your body as you go through the ride. Too high of an intensity rating, and people won't ride it because it would practically break their bones and snap their necks and all sorts of stuff. High isn't too bad. High is reasonable. Really, really low, actually. So, the rating scale basically goes from low, or very low, I think sometimes, to uber extreme. Uber extreme is like the max. It's like 20 on a number here. And at that point, if you have an intensity rating of 20, holy cow, you're basically killing the people. Don't do that. Nobody will ride it anyway, except the park inspector. He's basically invincible. Don't question it. Science, I guess. Okay. Little meme there. So yeah. Nausea rating, that's how sick people will get on the ride. If it's high, people will probably get a little bit more sick than if it's low. If it's very uber extreme, what are you doing to the poor people? They're going to get sick all the time. Excitement rating is really what you're after. Excitement, maybe a little intensity and a little nausea, but you don't want either of those to be too high. Really, the excitement rating is what gives the ride the thrill factor. That, and then a little bit of this, but mostly that. So, yeah, so that's the basic results of a ride. I can go into the details on the other results in other rides some other time. Okay, this is the operating mode. This allows you to change how often the ride rotates, how much it does, how it works, how many people can be on it at once. Guests. So this tells you what the guests think of the ride, how they like it. So how many people have ridden the ride, 576 per hour, 54% popularity, so that means about 54% of the people like it. Satisfaction, 81%, so about 19% of the people aren't happy with it. Queue time, 2 minutes, that's how long they have to wait to get in line. And it's the favorite ride of however many guests. That's key. If you have a ride that's really, really popular, most likely this is going to be a huge number and people will love it. And then you'll make more money off of it. You ideally want that on all rides. Oh, this is total customers. This is how many you've had over the year per hour. So I guess that's real life hours. So built, that's when it was built. Okay, this is maintenance. This tells you how reliable the ride is. The lower this percentage, the more it's prone to break down. Downtime, the higher this percentage, the more it's likely to break down. Pretty easy to explain. Last breakdown was an emergency stop, so they had to stop it for an emergency for some reason. You can call a mechanic straight to the ride. It will come to the ride to fix it. Inspection is when a mechanic comes to check the ride to make sure it's all in good working order so that it won't break down as often. When a ride gets really old and worn down and starts to break down often, I put it down to like 10 minutes. And generally on my really, really exciting roller coasters, I put it down to 10 minutes. When the mechanic inspects the ride, he will not stop guests from riding it. They can still enjoy the ride. He'll just be doing an inspection on the ride and making sure it's all in good working order. Information. This tells you what kind of music you could put on the ride. This is mostly pieces I've wrote and a bunch of other fun stuff. But they chose one of the original game musics for this. Allows you to name the ride, tells you how many people are currently on the ride, allows you to change what the fences look like outside the ride, if you want to do that. Allows you to paint the ride whatever colors you wish. This is actually for the queue line, so you can paint the queue line too. You can change the colors of the line. You can demolish the entire ride. You could change what the entrance and exit look like and where they are located. The blue means you can place it. Red means you can't place it there because it's already there. You can change what it looks like. There's different themes. This changes whether there's a sign over the queue line. I like to have signs just because people can find it easily. This will take you to the ride from anywhere. If I was way over here looking at this roller coaster and hit this, bam, it takes me straight to the ride. Perfect. Very handy. That's the coaster cam, and we're done here with that tab. Admission price, pretty easy. Tells you how much you're making off the ride, how much it costs to run it, and how much people are paying for the ride. Guest thoughts. I like to watch this on rides because, you see, if guests start thinking about a ride too much and saying things, and their thoughts start saying bad things about it, you might want to consider adjusting some things. If they're really, really enjoying it, like that, here we go. Here goes. I want to go again. I enjoyed it. Here goes nothing. See? They're really enjoying this ride. I hope it isn't too scary. They haven't ridden it before. If they say it's really good value, I would raise the price because people will pay more for that ride because they're really, 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 really loving it. Okay, if they're saying it's too expensive, then obviously you lower the price. Pretty simple. So that's the basics of ride operation. With roller coasters, there's not too much different, except for the cars. You could change some coasters. You could change what kind of cars run on the track. You could change the colors of the lights of the cars. You could change the colors of the tunnel lights. You could press this to recolor the track all the same color. You can change the colors of the track, the supports, and the cars themselves. And yeah. You can change how many cars are in a train. You can change how many trains there are. So a train is basically an entire line of cars going through the track. Pretty easy. With roller coasters, it's not too much different. Everything else is pretty much the same. Except for graphs. Roller coasters will have graphs about speed, how fast they're going over the course of the ride, how high they go over the course of the ride, in feet, or miles an hour, or metric if you change the options to metric. Lateral G-forces, that's how much force is pushing the guests side to side as they go through the ride. Vertical G's, that's how much force is pushing them up and down as they go through the ride. You don't want these to be too high, or else your intensity ratings will be too high and nobody will ride it because it'll be breaking their bodies all into pieces, and that is not good. Okay. Pretty much the same there. This is construction mode. We're not going to go into that right now. It's pretty complicated. Oh, this one actually has a medium excitement, so it's a little bit more exciting, and it's not very nauseating. That's good. So yeah, that's the basics of your ride interfaces, operating a park, and getting to those windows, and storing them up here for later uses. Illy Wall Large 2. Dolphin show. Ooh, I could make some dolphins for them to watch. Train some dolphins to do some tricks, and that would be fun. So yeah, that's the basics of this park, and the basics of looking around a park and seeing what's best to do with a park. Now, let's actually do some things, because I was just showing you stuff. Now we can do some stuff. So, typically, when I start out a scenario, I mean, this is the tutorials on how to succeed, right? Coast to success. Coaster to success. We're going to fly straight to success. Hopefully, if we do things right. Even if things go wrong, I can show you how to fix things. So, facilities. This is where you'll find your ATMs, first aids, information, and toilets. Very handy. Information. There is no information place in this park, so I'm going to build one. So, you see wherever it is blue, you can build it and place it. The arrow points to where guests will enter to pay for park maps and umbrellas, because that's what an information place sells. I usually put these right next to the entrance so that people can immediately walk in and buy park maps and umbrellas so that they don't get lost, and if they need it, they won't get rained on. See, I just opened the ride there. No items are sold that require extras. On food stalls, this is pretty handy there. So, these are the items that they sell. They sell an umbrella, a kid's umbrella, and a map. So these are their prices. I usually hit synchronized stalls of this type because that will make it, if you build another one of these somewhere else in the park, it will also have the same prices as this one does here. So I usually do that because you don't want them to all be different prices. He doesn't need an umbrella, so why did he even go visit the shop? Probably bought a map, maybe. Okay, so that's that. You can change the name of it, like I could call this Irene's Info for fun. Kind of fun. Sometimes stalls will break down. Now, I don't really know what that means because it never tells you why they break down. It's kind of weird. So I'm guessing maybe like someone knocked the shelf over or something broke or the cash register didn't work, and so they call a mechanic. You can do that. Guess they're thinking about it. The map is a good value, so let's see. Now I'd raise the price just a little bit, probably about 10 cents, so that they'll pay a little more and I'll make some more money off of the maps. Satisfaction, 50%, 18%, that's going up. People are enjoying it more, that's great. Hold on a sec, I'm going to blow my nose. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. Okay, so, Irene's Info is too busy. Okay, when you see that, people tend to run away from the stall because they're like, oh, people are loving this place too much, it'll take too long to get stuff. So, usually when that happens, I build a second one. So that that one won't be so busy and they can come to the other one. See? Synchronized. Immediately it set my map price to the same as I have it on this one. So, perfect. Profit per map. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so I'm even learning something new here. It shows how much money you're making off each item you're selling here per thing. Okay, in case you're wondering, that is nastiness. That's puke. That's not good. That means somebody went on a ride too intense and got sick there. When you see that, you want janitors to clean it up, so we're going to go get some janitors now. Because obviously, who wants to walk around a park where there's a lot of that nasty, disgusting flying all over the place? If you do, I won't judge you, but personally, I find that a little disturbing. Oh, wow. The researchers are really on their game. They're coming up with lots of good stuff. Okay, so yeah, that's how you build things. If this would have been red, I would not have been able to place it because something was in the way. Say a path, a tree, a bush, another ride. It could be anything, which is why I would check it. So, you see, now I'm going to have litter and vomit subtract from my park rating. That is not good. Not cool. Not good stuff. So, to get rid of that, I'm going to get some janitors. So, to do that, you go to Park Management here, and then you go to Staff here. Click there, and you'll see how many of each staff you have. The Park Inspector is always there. I don't think you can fire him. I don't know why you would, because he's really quite helpful in telling you what needs to be changed with your park. So, I don't think you can fire him anyway, so don't bother. You can't even hire another one anyway. So anyway, they have one janitor watering some plants right now. He's happy. They have one mechanic roving around, wandering around. He's happy. Okay, he doesn't need to fix any rides, so he's just wandering around. The janitor's busy doing his stuff, watering the plants, because that's what they do. They water plants, they clean footpaths, and they empty trash cans. Very important. If your trash cans get too full and there's no janitors to empty them, problem. So this is where you'll hire new staff. You can hire animal keepers, entertainers, security persons, mechanics, and janitors. I don't usually hire security people because they don't honestly help. One thing that I found in most Roller Coaster Tycoon games, people will still vandalize and destroy and be bad when they're really unhappy, whether there's a security guard watching or not. So I find them just to cost too much money. I don't usually hire them. Entertainers. These will keep your guests happier when there's some problems in the park, making them unhappy. Like this. If you hire an entertainer, maybe it'll distract them from the disgusting thought of what made that. Animal keepers, that's for hiring animals. We'll get to that in Wild. Vendors. Vendors are the people who are selling things here at the place. I've never had a problem with vendors. I don't think they ever get angry or ever quit, so you don't really need to show them there. And this will toggle whether they show or not. See them or not see them. Your choice. So, hire janitor. You'll be carrying him around like this blue floaty thingy. He'll probably be thinking thoughts like, "Get off!" or "Put me down!" So you want to quickly place him on a path. When he sees what he's supposed to do, he'll go ahead and start sweeping it up. See that? Brilliant! He's sweeping that up and it's all gone. Yay! Now you did hear that. Okay, that means someone else got sick, so he's gonna go wandering around finding more to clean up. Now he'll be happy because I put him down. My work is very good. So as long as they're happy, you're good. Problem solved. I'll show you things to do with them later, but more janitors is generally a good thing. The bigger your park, the more you'll need. Basics of staff hiring and shop building there. Already, the ratings have gone up a little bit. Ooh, actually, no, they've gone down because there's so much litter and vomit. Let's hire one more janitor to take care of that. There we go. Okay, supervise forward a little bit. Quad bike. That would be an interesting thing to build. Okay, so now we've got more janitors to clean up the park. Janitors are key to the success of your park. Without janitors, this will become huge. And obviously, the bigger a number subtracts from a positive number, the smaller the positive number will be, and the worse your park rating will be. And the worse your park rating is, the worse off the guests will be in your park, and they won't like you. Not good. Not good when that happens. So, now, I've covered a lot in this tutorial. I think I'm going to end it here for now. You've got some basics on building things, the shops, stalls, got the basics on how everything works, how to hire staff, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.